These two pots have little propagations I made from my variegated boxwood out front. Aren't they cute, guys? They're still really tiny. And I know it looks like I've over-potted it, but I intend to leave these here all winter long. In fact, they wintered out this winter in even smaller pots. But these are going to be filled with flowers, so you may not even be able to see them. But, you know, they'll get bigger next year. But for now, they're tiny. And I made them myself. And I'm going to show you some of my plant babies. And then I'll show you where they all began in my low-tech propagation station. This is my amazing boxwood hedge. You need a microscope to see it, but I'm very proud of it. I have 3 little babies here. I'm going to try to zoom in on the babies and show you. There's one of them, propagated from a cutting. And then this is the second one. This one has a lot of growth. Ever since it warmed up, it's been putting out new leaves. So these have really taken well back here. And this is the third one in my hedge. So it won't exactly be a hedge, but I'm hoping to have 3 nice boxwoods along this fence. And I'll shape them into balls. Won't that be nice, guys? And it's mixed in with Pachysandra. So all of these evergreen boxwoods were free from my cuttings. That one's looking quite big this year. I would say this is their 3rd year, so they're still quite small. I'll zoom back so you can get a feel for how small they are. But of course, it's fun to grow your own plants for free. Here's a tiny euonymus plant that I grew. It's a variegated euonymus. And we're going to need to zoom way in on it. Look how cute that is. They are very easy to propagate. I just took a cutting after pruning and took off the bottom leaves, popped it into my propagation center, and here we are a year and a half later with a tiny little bush. These are practically invisible this time of year on the brown leaves, but this is a red twig dogwood, and I've made some cuttings of these as well. Once spring really hits in full force, there'll be some leaves on there. But that's another really easy one to propagate. And just for fun, aren't these little daffodils just so sweet? They're little tiny miniature daffodils. And this was the most exciting thing I did this week in my garden, and that was to make a topiary. This is my first attempt at making one. I was inspired by Linda Vader, who has a wonderful YouTube channel, A Gorgeous Garden in Oklahoma, and she does a lot of topiary, and I watched several of her demonstrations, and this is what I came up with. So it's going to be at least a 2-ball topiary. And I got a lot of cuttings from it. That's why I'm showing it to you on my low-tech propagation video. But it has a lot of filling out to do, as you can see. I hope in a couple of years I have a lovely topiary to show for it. But thanks again, Linda, for the inspiration. And hopefully the cuttings will be more fodder to make more topiaries. And this is where the magic happens. On the shady side of my house, I have a tub of sand. And this is my low-tech propagation station. All I do is stick cuttings into some moist sand, water it in, and forget it. I come back a couple of months later, and depending on the season, I may have roots. And not everything takes, but I would say I have a great amount of success. Right now, I have some boxwoods in there and some variegated euonymus. So that's rooting out. And I just stuck those in the fall, the euonymus, and then the boxwoods I just stuck in a couple days ago from a topiary I made, and I was clipping away at it. So I don't believe I have any roots to show you now, but we can follow up on that. But this is a stick it and forget it type of setup. The beauty of this is that you can reuse the sand over and over and over. I've had this propagation station set up for about a year and a half, and I have propagated various things in it. As a matter of fact, this bush, which is right next to my low-tech propagation station, came from my mother's townhouse garden 25 years ago. And it was just a small cutting, and I didn't have my tub of sand then, but boxwood is a great candidate for propagating with cuttings. And I just popped it into probably some potting soil, and it rooted out, and I brought it over to my house, and now I have a wonderful plant that reminds me of my wonderful mother. So guys, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you're having propagating fun in your garden this spring.